Hold on. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, me and Kim were talking about this last weekend.
Kim and I.
Kim and I.
You know, girls gonna correct you on that, right?
Really?
God, I know. I used to do that too all the time. You know, I used to do that. I used to do that. Me and Jim, me and Tim, right? And girls used to always go, Tim and I. You know, and it's like whatever, man. You know, it's like
piss me off.
whatever. And,
You know.
Exactly. You know, it's
got
like
an
my grammar, she's fine.
yeah, it's like grammar. I've always been a grammatical there.
Yeah.
T-H-I-E-R or T-H-E-R, you know, there. I can't do there. T-H-E-R-E, you know, there's always this funky little thing with theirs and theirs, and, you know, it's like, yeah, I'm brutal with grammar. Okay, go ahead.
Alright.
That's why I have an editor.
Last weekend, Kim and I were talking about this. You obviously teach a very, very natural approach, but do you have any sort of structure behind your approach? Or is it all intuitive?
Well, I like to teach intuition, but I mean, I could tell you, I mean, I've told the same stories for years. You know, so there's definitely structure. I've created my own stories, right?
Yeah.
Meaning, you know, like in my product, you know, my product that talks about openers in my mastery series, I talk about coming up with your own openers, right?
Mm-hmm.
Meaning, you need to go to 5 places that you get to know people, you know, that you're an expert in. So let's say you're really good at bookstores, and you know, you're good at coffee shops, and you're good at oh, I don't know, pick another place that, you know, you like to meet women at, right?
House parties.
House parties, right?
House parties.
So, you know, there's always some story you can come out of your ass with in these places, right? So, want to talk about structure, so when I go to a house party, right, I'll stand in the middle of the house party, okay, because I know what's going to happen. I consider it like playing the odds, right? I know when you go to a house party, people are going to be walking around looking for the best person to find, right? So all I'll do is I'll be the lap counter, right? I'll stand there in the middle, okay, and there's my structure for the evening. I'll let people lap me all night long. What I'll do is I'll bust women and go, man, you've done 3 laps. You still haven't found what you're looking for, right? So there's structure to that, okay, because I know what's going to happen, right? I'll see you on the next lap, okay?
So, like open, you know, by standing in the middle, then it's open with then start a conversation with the tease.
Right, start a conversation with a tease, okay? But a tease that I've used over and over again. When I go to a bar, I like to use the BlackBerry opener, okay, which has structure to it, because you're standing in a bar, everybody's looking for the bigger, better deal. Everybody's looking for something that's going to work, right? Or somebody that they're gonna, you know, somebody that's going to intrigue them. So what do? I get my friend, I get Ray, Ray's his number, and I said, Ray, text me this right now. Last night was really fun. Enjoyed connecting with you. Maybe meet later for a drink? Smiley face, right? So meanwhile, I go and I look at my, you know, and Joel knows who've done it. You know, I go and I look at my phone and I go, what is this? What is this, right? And I look at my buddy like,
I don't know, man. What did you do yesterday?
I don't know.
You haven't told me about her yet.
I have no idea, right? So then all of a sudden we're creating this energy. We're creating this like smiling and laughing and having fun, right? So there's a group of women, so what do? I go, come here. Get over here. Come here. I gotta ask you a question right now. Now listen, okay? Before I tell you what happened, before I show you this text, I need your opinion, okay? Before I tell you this text, I gotta tell you what happened last night, okay? Last night, all right, I went out with this woman. Hour and 15 minutes, tops, right? That's it, tops. We had 1 glass of wine apiece, okay? That's all we had was 1 glass of wine, right? And she just texted me this, and I really have no idea what it is, and I'll hand them the phone. Structure? Man, every single time I can predict the outcome, they start going, booty call, oh my God, you're getting booty called. And I go, oh, come on, is that what you do for a booty call? Right? So then I bring it back on her. And the women just start talking and laughing and passing your phone around, and they're trying to figure out. And then one of them is going to look at you and wonder, what did that guy say at that hour and 15 minutes? She becomes curious about you. She starts thinking like, man, why is this girl texting him after an hour and 15-minute date? What did he do? So yeah, there's in certain situations, I have what I call a foundation of things that you can use, but you still need to listen, because it's just, all it is just an opener. You still need to listen to know what to go next, because nobody in the world ever can tell you what to say A, B, C, D, and E, because there's no way in the world a conversation is going to go robotic like that. You could say hi to somebody and they could say bye. You could say red and she can say purple, and you'd be like, oh my God, the shadow method said blue, right? You're supposed to say blue. You can't do that. This is human interaction. So you can start her with some type of structure, some type of opener that you're comfortable with, but it's your listening skills that will develop, which will take you further into the conversation.